will unpause, and they're on the move, as expected.
Yeah, just a little safer to put Wraith King in the mid lane, at least briefly, to potentially break smokes and things like that and get vision. So they will not find each other. Yeah, they're basically, Quincy Crew is basically just hoping that somebody on Zoomers would walk up and try to go for a mid ward D-ward. Because they haven't gone for that, nothing's going to end up happening here, but totally fine either way. Map control moves up here with the sentry ready to go. He will block the camp. It's my favorite place to place it too. All the way in the upper right, so lower chance that they get to pull that.
That one's sure a better lane for them for sure.
Are they lane dodging potentially? They're staying in the mid lane for quite a while here. No, it looks like you will head top now. So just standard lanes from Quincy Crew. Just well positioned for potential fight outcomes that could be good. Ogre Magi opting, Ponlo playing, opting for the Orb of Venom this game. So his ability to bully the lane will be decent here. If they can catch the right hero. And I'll see if they get the ward with their sentry. Yeah, this is going to reveal that there's a ward there. Easy D ward there by Ponlo. Really nicely done. And good to do it right now, because this is usually when people go back to block. So that'll take a little advantage away from the OD, which is nice. That way if Quap is on the high ground, you're not necessarily going to see it coming if he throws a dagger. But he opts for Scream. A little bit better as a laning tool. Curious to see what build he goes this game for Quinn, but...
Yeah, we haven't seen too much of the Queen of Pain. I think we've seen it once in a while, but been seeing the uptick on the OD, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah, it's pretty even from my perspective, but they're both pretty rarely picked. But one Quap game we saw, I think Stormstormer played it, he just max Blink and Scream. And the next Queen of Pain game we saw a lot of dagger levels, and he actually does opt for Shadow Strike at level 2 here to try to harass Gunner down. So doesn't care so much about those mid-game rotations, he cares more about winning the lane.
There's a lot of damage coming out there in the top lane. Just with the way that Ponlo, of course, being a very tanky support, can just be very, very forward, and coupled that with the Orb of Venom that he's got on his hero and the Frost Arrows, it makes things very difficult.
Yeah, if you stay away from Drow, it's going to be a bad time, basically. But if you can get on top of her, it's a pretty good chase here. And the other cool thing is that just slowing Magnus is going to slow both of them too, right? Because your movement speed on Io is based on the guy you're tethered to, so it's a pretty good counter. Quite a few pauses going on so far. Ooh, needs a reset here. Gives him the tip right before he disconnects. He's in his mind, dude.
I don't think that's necessarily the case, but, you know. It is difficult, right? Because Gustavo is playing from Brazil.
It's a powerful tip. You tip somebody and they disconnect right away. That's what happened right there.
Yes, it's that powerful.
Blasted him with his tip powers. Knocks him out of the game, even though he's still on Discord. Little side pull for Milan here. Husky on the other side is just getting to his D-ward now, so a little lane advantage there, depending on how many denies they get. But for now, Wraith King's a little bit vulnerable. I'd say Mars plus Snapfire. I mean, that's 4 skills that deal damage, basically, between the two of them. So that's pretty spooky when you get bursted, especially when you're already at half HP. Does Husky have a salve? He does. Here's the reconnect here.
Looks like we're ready to go. But yeah, like you said, that bottom lane here.
Oh, no.
Ooh, we lost him again. Still lagging, unfortunately.
Absolutely perfect.
Now we have a toilet, so.
Oh, no.
But yeah, now the bottom lane, you know, with this Mars and the Snapfire combo is fairly scary to have to deal with. So positioning is going to be very, very key because you don't want to end up getting speared or, you know, open up with the cookie, then end up, you know, throwing out the spear and whatnot.
Yeah, especially if you get speared back after the cookie, then you have to run even farther to safety. In these pre-boots territories, that's really scary when you're taking a lot of damage. And he's not laning with Io, he's laning with Lions. So his likelihood of getting back to safety is not quite as good.
I mean, that's what the panel was saying, right, is that you looked at these lane matchups coming out from the side of Zoomers, and it's nothing that's really wowing them. I mean, you do have, you know, the double lockdown with the Wraith Fire Blast and, of course, everything that Lion brings to the table. But honestly, he just wants to farm. He just wants to hit creeps. He's not looking to get, you know, a ton of kills or whatnot. In fact, you see Husky already just trying to harass as much as possible.
Nice, and they get the large creep too. Milan takes a bunch of damage from the Skellies, and there's the first blood that ends up happening. Ponlo was there, but I'm sure that he was not finished in the washroom. That was a real quick one. So
That
he's
could
probably
be, yeah,
ready to go.
honestly.
He needed 10 seconds more, so that's why he.
You know, he was
died.
washing his hands. It's good to have good hygiene.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very big part of, you know.
And it's not the worst anyways. He gets full mana from it. A little bit of damage going to the IO. Last hit wise though, everything's going good for the cores. Basically, everyone's just about even, except for OD, struggling a little bit. 7-0 for Gunnar here. He does get his Ring of Health now, but he's also buying a Tango afterwards, knowing that the harassment he's taking is pretty extreme. And Quinn even got 2 points in Dagger. Wants as much harassment as possible. And this is one of the buffs to Quap that we saw recently that increases her viability, is that she gets heal now from Shadow Strike ticks. So even though OD can throw some damage back, some of it's also being healed off. So it's a pretty good spot for Quap to be in these circumstances if you can trade okay against him.
Yeah, anything with sustainability, honestly, during laning phase is just really, really key, right? Because especially when you're in the mid lane. And the mid lane is a lot more forgiving because of the fact we do have water runes that are showing up too. And so bottle heroes, people that are able to, you know, just move about a little bit more with mobility, like in terms of a Queen of Pain or like a Puck or something, really helps them out. But then having this on top of those runes really can make a big difference.
It definitely can, yeah. So if Gunnar's forced to not be able to profit from the water rune, and on a hero like Queen of Pain, he can basically get both water runes in a lot of cases, then he's in a great spot. And that's probably going to be the case. That might be one of the reasons that Quinn likes this matchup. It's not just the harass, it's that OD doesn't have AoE, so he can't push the wave. Quap should be able to outpush, and she trades pretty darn good with the dagger. And if he tries to contest a rune, and she gets it first, then she can blink to go get the second one. So it's like, no matter what, you're going to get at least one rune. Unless the enemy supports rotate or something like that. That's one solution. And they also got the ward deward too, so Quinn gets vision, and if Gunnar's low ground, he doesn't. There's just a lot of the good things going for Quinn here to start things off.
They managed to go and snipe up a courier as well. And it does feel like it's going to be hard for these supports to make moves, right, over on the side of the Zoomers to try to make, you know, put any pressure down on Quap, because you don't really want your IO kind of wandering off. And then if you leave, you get this scenario down here between Keizo and Milan, where they're just going to chain stun, throw out, you know, every disable that they have, and they're going to get kills.
Yeah, that's a tough one. On the bright side, though, Lion is a great hero to disable Quap, so if he does get a good rotation off, it can work, but I don't really see him leaving the lane. You're exactly right. You just can't against these two heroes.
Which means Gunnar's going to probably suffer here in this mid lane. And look at this, Quinn's already headed over to the runes.
Yep, push out the lane, take the enemy bounty rune, just to help ensure that your team gets a bit more gold than your opponents. I mean, who knows? Maybe a Radiant hero will go take that one, but the dire one, but it's unlikely.
I don't think they really can. I think if Husky leaves the second that he's out of there, they'll smell blood in the water and they'll just go after this Wraith King again.
Wow, look at this Quinn skill build. He went 3-0-2, all damage this game. Oh, Skewer back top though.
In the top lane, Yard just teleporting back. Knows that they don't have any way to cancel it. He's going to meet up with his courier. And of course, Ponlo will deliver him a nice salve to keep him nice and healthy.
Okay, not too bad. Yeah, Quinn just wants to win the lane. As much damage as possible is the way to do it. With that said, he's only up by about 6 CS right now, so he's doing fine. He's getting some regen out of it, plus the rune control, but could be better. Gunnar could be dead, so I would say this is going fine for Gunnar so far.
I think he's buying his time, honestly. Top lane, though, the skewer back over onto Ponlo. You are putting out some of these frost arrows, trying to slow them down just a little bit. And of course, Ponlo, fairly tanky as an ogre. Should be fine.
We've been seeing a lot more offlaners buy the double bracer again these days. It really fell off for a long time, but most offlaners instead opting to go Helm of Iron Will builds, but I've seen more and more of these bracers picked up again. I mean, maybe it's partially because he has an IO to back him up, but still a little surprising to me.
Yeah, they're talking about that actually in the green room, and they also were seeing the resurgence of Wraith bans coming up depending on certain heroes, which seems interesting.
Wraithband 1 is more straightforward in my opinion because it did get buffed again, so now it gives you like 3 armor instead of the previous 2.5, so there's like tactical obvious benefits to that one, but you know, it's cool to see the variety again.
It's a fast way to clean up the Skelly men in the bottom lane.
Nice try.
Pretty quiet though otherwise.
Yeah.
We got 2 kills on the board so far though. As I say that, Seek stubbornly moving his way over. Just gonna try to contest over here, get these last hits.
That's actually a cool thing about this this mid lane actually. It's that every time OD comes up to banish, Quinn casts his spells, does damage, and then when the banish is gone and he loses mana, he just uses bottle and water runes, and it fills his mana to full. So like once the mana reduction comes and pumps through, it's going to end up with him being full mana anyways. It's actually really not that bad. And he's getting heal from the Shadow Strike, so it like offsets the damage component a bit.
Reminds you a little bit of the way that like Undying works, right?
Yeah.
Bottom lane though, Milan needs to be a bit careful, does get hexed up. Got big hits here, uses the
So
Fairy
close.
Fire, he's still alive for a little bit longer, but Stabile, nice juke here coming out from Stabile, sidestepping that spear, but getting bashed in the face, and Husky losing his courier yet again.
It's very conflicted. He's like, do I stun, do I run?
Stun or run, you know, fight or flight. It's a little bit different here in Dota 2. It's the stun though from Ponlo. I keep skewering him back, but he's able to walk away yet again.
I love having Bloodlust as a carry in the early lane stage. It's incredible, actually. There's not a lot of places you can get 7% attack speed, free 30 attack speed, 7% movement speed. It just feels so good.
Feels good as long as your support is willing to cast it on you.
That's true.
There's a lot of times you just ping Bloodlust. Ogre Magi has Bloodlust.
Yes.
They're just like, nope.
They walk to lane, they cast level 1 Ignite like 6 times, and they're like, I'm just out of mana. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, why'd you cast so many level 1 Ignites, man?
They had their reasons.
Yes, they clear up that stacked small camp. Ponlo's a little sad about that one. Has to split the hard-working, hard-gained experience 3 ways.
Long cook capping forward, getting some of these small creeps, but we'll just drag away over with the wave. Okay, so we'll just look on here as Stabile continues to farm underneath the tower. Just get a nice spear off. A little bit of bullying coming out from the side of Zoomers as they're going to find some of these stacks that have been created by Ponlo, which is going to make him pretty sad. You are, though, making his own rotation. Wants to punish this. OD just finishing up the Meteor Hammer. He's got a double damage, too, looks like. You are, though, needing a bit of help. He is just getting bullied and hit very, very hard. They don't want to go too far. They're looking to turn around over onto Z-Freak. Couple of hits coming in. They should be able. He's going to try to get the tether off. One more hit, though, coming in from UR. We'll make sure that they finish off. Gunner in the mid lane here with Husky waiting patiently. Get off a couple hits over here on Milan, and they'll drop the hammer.
I was like, oh, Husky didn't stun. That's weird. That's why he was just expecting the kill. And they actually killed Quap before that, too.
Oh.
Incredible. I don't know if they used hammer for that, but I assume so. You can definitely catch Quap with it and get those kills, but I think that's probably why Respike was on cooldown in the first place. They used to kill the Quap.
That's possible.
So finally, Odie gets some comeuppance here. He's only a little bit behind in last hits. His net worth is now above Queen of Pain's by about 500, so really nicely done. Sometimes you got to take these tough lanes, and even against a top-tier player like Quinn, if you know what to do, you can eventually find a way in and to get some advantage, and he was able to do that there, so that's impressive.
Stabile now just leaving that bottom lane and is going to just take up residency here in the jungle, start getting some of these neutral items, and just continue to hit creeps. Be interested to see if they make any sort of rotations or try to start bothering him and forcing him out of that area. But the Zoomers, they have their eyes on the prize. They want this top tower. Ponlo, of course, still here. Is going to just go up to the high ground. He's going to end up losing some wards.
It's hard to defend the top tower, especially with a Drow. A Drow has damage here, but she's vulnerable to dives, and against a Skewer and Magnus, it's a tough thing to deal with. And the Meteor Hammer just makes taking the tower pretty straightforward. If they wanted to react to this, they could like fight and stun him before his hammer hits, but it's just there's a high chance that they lose that fight anyway. So tower's going to go to Moo. He's going the old Collapse build, the Mech Magnus. It's something that Collapse did that very few other Mags did do. They would grab usually a Hood instead, but he liked the team heal, and I can't fault him for it. It's a lot of heal. It basically offsets a team fight ultimate. Something like Quap ulti, well, it does 340 pure damage. Why not heal 275 of that? It's a pretty good thing to offset.
Especially because the way that Quincy is designed right now, it feels like they are going to try to get a little bit more aggressive early on.
The only downside to the build, though, is that he's already got an IO. But IO's very... Oh.
Yeah, they're going to go for the arena. They'll land over on the tower, but already Gunner in position. Will protect for a little bit longer. So go, use some of those Snapfire kisses, but they're not going to land as many as they'd like as they turn back around. They got the Hex up. Can they get the kill? Yes, they can. Oh, Z-Freak, he tried to keep him alive, but he's not going to be able to do it. Moo now, there are no trees to run to. There's nowhere to hide. Z-Freak trying to just make some space, trying to get their attention, but the rest of the Zoomers are just being hunted down here. Husky will fall, and Moo looks like he's going to try to just get his spells off before he's going to die again.
What a voice line, dude. It just looks so good. It's like, oh, Gunnar just completely offset that ulti. And he's like, I'm going to go find someone else to kill. Boom, there's 4 heroes. Uh-oh. Dangerous stuff with Drow Ranger rotating in the Gust spell. Very good. Some Drows forsake it a little bit. They're like, oh, I don't want that. That's garbage. But in the context of a laning stage, when you can get a couple saves or a couple kills, it got them the IO kill earlier. It was excellent there against the OD. There's that the Drow counter against the OD that SVG mentioned.
You can see that movement now as they put up a couple deep wards over on the side of the Radiant jungle. Trying to keep tabs. They know that they want to keep farming on this Wraith King. But they're also making their way towards the mid. Quinn jumping forward here. Cookie hop from Milan. A little bit off the mark there. Maybe just excited, you know. Things were happening.
It was a little bit hard of a dive there. Man, it feels like everybody builds Quap differently. It's very interesting. Quinn going for the traditional. He's going treads into Orchid instead. But some players, they skip or they keep it brown boots to go Orchid faster. But I mean, treads is a lot of value on the hero. It makes your spells go farther. It gives you more HP. It gives you more right-click damage.
I feel like a lot of the times, too, when you just go straight up brown boots into the Orchid, you're just a little bit too much of a glass cannon sometimes.
That is true. Quap is kind of glass cannon-y, though, so...
Oh, for sure.
She just have to be careful.
Moo, taking some ticks down, but Z-Freak keeping them healthy.
Easy disjoint of the stun there. But forcing them to have to move over and try to deal with him instead of continuing their farm is still a nice thing.
They've got the armlet completed for the Wraith King. He's looking at getting a Deso next. But the pressure is on here for this mid lane. They'd like to take more control over the jungle.
They would like to, but it's hard. Like, they're farming the jungle and they're just sitting near the tier 2 tower. That's like the only safe place right now. In the meantime, Yawar gets all of this free space, and this is basically based because of how Quinn's playing. I think that's the cool thing about what he's doing this game, is that he's exerting his pressure on the map with his hero. And he's not going too hard. It's very easy when you play Quap to like really mess that up, to be like, oh, I can go on this guy. You blink forward, and that's when they just collapse and kill you. Like, if your blink's off cooldown, or is on cooldown, on Queen of Pain, you're so killable. Your HP's okay with treads, but a lot of your survivability comes for you being able to escape if they stop stunning or silencing you. So just by using treads and his decent levels and his okay damage, good damage maybe we'll say, it's forced the 4 Zoomers have to play the map in weird places, and that's part of the reason Quincy's gotten a net worth advantage.
I mean, that's something that SVG says, you know, continuously, is the fact that you want to make them play into you. You want them to be responsive to you. And when you've got a hero like this Queen of Pain that is allowed to be that aggressive, or in this case, you know, you've got an Ogre and a Mars that can just punish anybody who shows up. That makes it a lot more difficult because you're forced to say, okay, do we really want to fight this or are we just giving this up? Like, you have some hard decisions to make. Gunnar, though, getting into position here. Milan standing nearby, waiting for that channel to come out. Make sure that Quinn can make it out alive. They're going with the arena over onto 3, and they'll go use a giant sonic wave. Pushes them all back, though. Safe for the Ion. They go for the RP, pushing back over onto Keizu. That's going to be a death eventually, and they'll find a kill on Gunnar as well. And perhaps even more, because suddenly sitting very low. That is the reincarnate now popping. Go forward again. They throw out the tip because he didn't manage to grab his friend to bring him out. Cookie out forward. Quinn will find himself another kill.
Oh man, that tip was funny because he saw the relocate being charged.
Yep. It's a good stun here coming out from Husky, but I don't think Z-Freak will survive this. Even throws out the finger.
Okay.
There it is.
He does get the finger stack actually. Ooh, he's looking dead though with the ignite. Yeah. And a great fight from Quincy crew. It looked really bad for Zoomers at the start, right? They walk in and banish. He can't channel Meteor Hammer because the Snapfire could easily interrupt it. So then they kind of wait for some follow-up, and all of a sudden it's like Mars jumps in and arenas 3 people, and it looks really bad. But because the IO and that fast mech, that offsets a lot of the damage coming out of Quincy crew. But the problem was that the Hammer, the old Sanity's Eclipse, did not kill the Mars. And then they all just got ran down, and they almost didn't kill Snapfire as well. So it kind of just went catastrophic in the end, even though the mech worked okay.
It felt like the fight went just a little bit longer than they would have liked, like you said, because they have that regen that's coming out, negating some of the damage, or rather refilling the HP bar, so to speak.
But it was also that line was dead too, right? Because he died up in the enemy jungle, teleporting away, so makes it a little bit harder. Nice ward find for Husky.
Quinn's getting closer and closer to this Orchid. In fact, I think it's on its way, which makes things extremely scary now, especially for the Isle, especially for the squishier supports.
A Lion too. If he finds either of those guys by themselves, it's looking like a decent kill. Magnus has some survivability. He's got mech. While Ponlo nails that Observer ward, dude just walks over. I was like, oh, that's a cool ward. Very sneaky. Instantly dewards it.
Not sneaky enough.
Yep. Been crushing the warding game here.
I like the way that they're collapsing around this tower here. Quincy getting into position.
I mean, it makes sense. They have that other Observer ward between the tier 2 and the tier 1 top, in the mid lane. It's going to help spot those rotations there. They're going on top, though.
They are indeed. Oh, dear. This is looking a bit scary here for Gunnar because he can't banish everybody. He's going to try to teleport out. They'll use the Sonic. They need just a little bit more damage, and they have it.
Was a close one. Ponlo wanted to save a stun in case the OD tried to TP, because ideally Quap doesn't have to use her ulti there to pick up that kill. But
there's an arena going on in the mid lane. They just cookie hop a little bit out here. They need a little bit more damage over onto Husky.
that creep might kill him. Okay, never
No,
mind. He's okay.
no.
He's all right. Cookie a little bit off the mark, unfortunately, but still very good for Quincy crew here. They've got the map pretty well distributed. Yawar's had tons of space. Now he's 3-0 and 5 jungling over here, and he's going to go for a Shadow Blade so he can spend some time in Viz. He's got the Grove Bow. That's hard to pass up, but Quicksilver Amulet's quite good on the hero as well. So just cleaning up the great neutral items for his team.
Lots of good stuff, that's for sure. You know it's a good game for the core when you don't mention their name, like hardly at all, when you're seeing these early fights. They're just allowed to go farm, do whatever they like, and all of a sudden they show up and they're ready to fight. And they've been putting a lot of pressure over on the side of the Zoomers from Quincy. They've seen Costabile get jumped a couple times now, and it feels like the map's getting smaller and smaller for them.
And he'll give up the Grove Bow in exchange for the Van Brace. Just more damage. It's an extra 40% agility, so it's like a 14 agi item instead of 10. HP in the mana regen. The tiny mana regen's not bad either. But the map just feels like, it feels like Quincy's side of the map has been theirs for 10 minutes, to be honest. Like, they lost their safe lane tier 1, but there are weak moves that Zoomers can make. Like you pointed out, the IO, like IO can relocate. The ideal for Zoomers is like they get a disable and a relocate with either Lion or maybe OD or maybe Mag.
Go for the silence over onto the Magnus. They can't skewer her out.
Relocate.
Follow up there. Yep, Z-Freak trying to reload out. Does have that mech though, so it's going to keep him alive just a little longer, but they get the stun up over onto the IO. Oh no, Z-Freak now in for a world of hurt as Quinn just chips away here over onto Moo. They get the kill on Moo, and they'll chase after the IO. Oh, and while this is all going on, Gunnar falling to the kisses in the mid lane.
With the Shadow Blade.
With the Shadow Blade
Nicely
grab.
done. Yep, sneaking on forward. Once they get the banish there, or the silence, he's dead.
Casey wanted more. He wanted so much more, but Husky.
Dude, this ward is so cool. Like this right behind the tier 2. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody put a ward there, but they probably did it at nighttime when the creeps weren't there, and they even put a sentry down to try to spot where this common ward is, but it just doesn't get it. And that's why they keep doing these goes on Lion mid. So mid tier 2 dies at 19 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen the mid tier 2 die first in a pro game. This is like really unprecedented.
I mean, we saw some games that were on turbo mode a little bit earlier here. EG went very, very quickly.
Oh, I thought you were talking about actual turbo. I was like, I don't watch turbo. I don't play turbo.
I've only gotten you to play turbo like twice with me,
Turbo
I think.
sucks. It's a bad
You
mode.
had a good time when we played.
Did I?
Yeah,
maybe.
you did.
It's a bad mode. It just like it's very imbalanced for a lot of heroes, right? That have long cooldowns. They're just infinitely
it's just for playing
worse.
for fun. Unless you run into like the
It's
really
not.
sweaty tryhard stack.
There are a lot of sweaty tryhards that play turbo because they think it's like a safe place or something, but they still try very hard. It has its own meta, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But not everybody has to play that way.
True. And I do like playing more casual stuff. I like randoming, stuff like that. But,
Yeah, you like doing those int heroes in the offlane role quite a bit.
I do, but Quinn's trying hard this game. That's for
Of
damn
course
sure.
he is. I don't think Quinn never. Like, he always tries.
He does. It's cool to see his skill build, actually. And the more you think about it, it makes sense. Because if you get a lot of dagger points on Quap, you struggle to max out Blink at a reasonable time. But then you feel like you have to get your ulti at 12, and you have to get their talents and all these things. But by just leaving his ulti at once, at level 1, all he's sacrificing is 90 AoE pure damage. It doesn't, and the mana cost goes up by like a crap load, by 150. So it kind of makes sense to leave Sonic Wave at 1 to get your Blink out maxed. Blink max a little bit faster so that you can be more mobile on the map. I kind of like it. It's cool.
I mean, the team is making the right moves anyways over on the side of Quincy Crew, so it does allow for a little bit more flexibility.
It does.
But they're smoked up on the side of Zoomers. They're going to wait over here at this invis room, hoping that somebody might blink forward and go for it. But that's a giant Snapfire and Mortimer. Good lord.
It is. The blood on them is very thick.
Well, it is a desert creature, right? So actually, no. Isn't your blood thinner when you're in a warm
when it's warm
area? Yeah.
I mean,
It's when it's
stuff expands when it's hot. Is that what you mean?
something like that. No, that's not. But there's actual chemistry behind your blood being thicker and then moving to like a different, like colder area or whatever. But anyways.
I believe you. There's the
The
Orchid.
jump forward, the Orchid. They even go for the arena, though. Pin the OD to the wall. And that's the end of Gunnar. I don't think we've seen him really be able to connect any of these Meteor plays.
Yeah, I mean, they got the Quap one that we missed in the mid lane like 15 minutes ago, but
That's kind of been it. You
Yeah,
kind of
that's
hope this
basically been
hero
it. It's hard.
snowballs.
it's really difficult against pro players. It's really, really hard. They know exactly what's coming. They keep an eye on the timings. They back each other up when the hammer comes out so that doesn't happen too much.
Cookie Hop canceling out the TP. Z-Freak will be the sacrifice as the rest of Quincy Crew makes their way into the pit.
His right click is really good with Bloodlust and Quicksilver Amulet. Looks like he's got a Hyperstone or something. Quap is a great right clicker. She has amazing, like maybe not amazing, but very solid stacking. So a mix of Orchid and Treads and Bloodlust and all this stuff. Like she's putting out some good damage. And all they got to do is continue to silence OD. He still doesn't have BKB. He's trying to get the damn thing finished. But one silence anywhere just means he dies if there's enough heroes on him. And that's kind of the name of the game. Quincy's done a really good job pressuring him and producing some deaths there. They don't let him get free kills. He's just going to slowly farm towards his BKB, and once he gets it, then they can take an okay fight, basically.
I feel like it's very difficult too because, you know, you want to give all your farm to Costabile because, you know, this is kind of like your win condition, right? But where then is Gunnar going to find the farm for this OD? Because you need to be moving together because the second that you start breaking apart is when they start making these plays on the side of Quincy Crew. How do you balance this out?
Whatever is safe, basically. And OD is going to kill lane creeps way faster than Wraith King will jungle. Or basically, OD doesn't jungle very fast, so it's a lot easier just to make sure that OD cleans lane and Wraith King does jungle. And Wraith King's tankier anyways, right? They needed a person in the front that can just frontline. That's his job.
Look at this. They have so much knowledge right now using that ward. They can see that the Zoomers are making their way over into position. We just got fresh BKBs coming out to one on Quinn, one on Kezu, and there's the first jump forward with the arena. They're just going to try to take out that lockdown that they really don't want to have being placed on Quinn. So the rest of the time, they're going to just teleport away. No one else in the vicinity to go and cancel out these TPs.
Nicely done. Got to punish people if they're going to take your wards. I just really like what Quincy's been doing. Even like the Veil pickup on Snapfire is really cool. I didn't mention it earlier, but when they dove in the mid-tier 1 tower, it makes so much sense. Like, you just buy this fast Veil for your team, it gives you all mana regen, and then everyone just does 18% more damage when they end up fighting.
Sounds
Queen of
pretty
Pain, Mars, even Ogre Magi's damage increase. It's pretty cool. And he's gone for a fast 4 staff. I like this.
I like the concept of just having more and more like ways to buff up your core in like kind of not unsuspecting ways, but in ways that are a little bit less traditional, right? Because, you know, the Bloodlust, that's pretty traditional, but then, you know, things like Veil or whatever, just throwing those into the mix. We're not seeing as many Veils as we used to.
Yeah, they can be really nice, especially because pro players kind of like expect a certain amount of damage from heroes. So when you just slap an extra 18% in this baby, then it just, they make mistakes. Just like this.
All right, there's the RP. Quinn, though, following up. That is the Aegis Ponlo hiding in the corner. He may end up being the one who falls. Somehow still alive, though.
He's alive.
All is said and done. Quinn jumping away. They will end up using UR.
What a fight.
Gunnar trying to get close. They go. They drop a ward. They'll go back in here immediately, though. The Hex comes out. This is not looking great because he's going to have to pop his own BKB, and he was really in it, but he's taking so much damage. Goes and drops the arena, trying to just kite even more. Skultabile cannot follow.
Oh man, I really wanted them to get that kill. Felt so good for them, but doesn't quite work out.
It's a lot of BKBs that got popped, and a big ulti too.
It was. Oh, man, that escape from Ponlo is so good. He basically draws them all the way over to the corner, and at the last second, he force staffs down. It's like, it might seem really small, like, oh, well, whatever, he was going to run that way anyways. No, but he just made them waste an extra, like, 2 seconds. That is massive for supports. Like, at higher levels, what supports, their whole goal is to live for, like, as many seconds as possible. Because if you live more, that's more spells that you throw, and that's more BKB seconds that your opponents waste. So, like, him not dying and buying that much time was insane. Like, that's a really big play.
Living is always a good thing, you know? I felt like you just went into weatherman mode there for, like, a half a second. Like, your tone even changed.
That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here. Live weatherman.
Live weatherman.
Much easier than 15-minute delay weatherman, let me tell you.
That's fair. That is fair. Currently on top of the net worth, though, is the Wraith King. It's 14K. Ponlo is going for that D ward here. He's going to pay for it as everybody just shows up.
I think he's dead. Boy.
I mean, we'll have to ask Synderen.
There was not much. There was not a lot of hesitation there.
There was not.
Let's see if Milan.
It was the reveal of the Blink Dagger, but the force back here. Right. Oh, to get enough damage. This is following up. Io silence. Come forward here, Gustabile. They will end up losing Z-Freak. As the BKBs have been popped. Casey waiting patiently, trying to find this opening. They're not going to be able to go and grab Gunner. They'll try to use this arena, but it's not going to work because they have the BKB on the Wraith King.
Not terrible for them. They got a buyback, just a 5 out of it. It's not too much benefit, and there's no Roche either, so like leaving that part of the map doesn't cost them much. They lose some BKB seconds, but that looked way worse initially. So worked out okay. Most importantly, Wraith King was able to get the blink out after the banish. I guess probably because he pressed BKB first probably and then blinked. Otherwise he wouldn't have been able to blink. So worked out pretty good. Oh, I'm sorry. It was his allies banished. Never mind.
Cookie hop forward. They found themselves Husky. They'll find a kill, and over on the side, they'll find themselves a little bit more as they get the kill on Moo.
They wanted that kill, that's for sure. I'm surprised they ultied for it, but didn't want to mess around.
I mean, that opens it up, right? Like, you don't have to worry about them trying to smoke ink with like an RP or anything like that.
That's true. Map is theirs. Almost an AC on Queen of Pain. Cool build.
That's, whew.
Yeah, it's a not that weird of a queen of an item because she's such a good right clicker, right? So it makes sense. You're bringing right click and armor auras and attack speed to your teammates, and it's blinkable, right? So it's just like always in the fight, no matter what. So it's kind of a cool itemization. We don't get to see too much. A lot of quaps go for just like Kaya Sange. They're more nuke reliant, but when you've got a Bloodluster, it makes sense to go more of a hybrid right click. But maybe this is viable and normal as well. But even go Scream of Pain talent, that massive 420 AoE damage.
Nice.
Very good damage. But he'll get there soon.
Yeah, Zoomer's playing very tightly over here. Ponlo kind of in the no man's land. Needs to be careful as there is quite a few members of the enemy team in this triangle, but does have the nice ward, giving him plenty of information. So he's just gonna waddle his way out of there.
That's a Shadow Blade on Snapfire.
I feel like Milan has a lot of these moments where we look at his items, we're just like, what the? Like,
I mean, it's cool. Like, he's got Shard already, so he can get the good blast. And I think his idea is that, like, I can blink in now, I can egg on top of somebody and blast them, and basically do crap loads of stun, and then I can Shadow Blade out, or vice versa. Start Shadow Blade, attack, scatter blast, cookie. There's some cool stuff he can do with this. His mana pool is a little bit weak is the only downside. Veil covers some of that, but I will see if he can get any cool combos off with it. But he'll be more survivable, and he'll better be able to scout for, like, Io, for example. Like, a lot of the times, the core pushes the tower, and what you want to do is go, like, look in the trees and try to find Io.
I mean, that's something they mentioned in the draft, that they need to have some sort of solution to getting onto those back lines and removing the Isle. And you have quite a few solutions now.
Yep, that's a great way to do it.
Top tower goes down. The Zoomers opening up the map a little bit more for themselves. BKB getting picked up, though, for UR, so it's going to be even harder to kill him, especially for this OD.
I mean, UR's got great items, but he doesn't have, like, oh shit, he's got a massive item that's going to change the whole game items right now. Whereas I'm looking at Wraith King, and he's, like, working towards the Scotty. Once he gets that against Drow's going to be in a lot of trouble when she gets ran at. But she does have Hurricane Pike, and she's got Shadow Blade, so she has ways out a little bit, but it's still a little scary.
It feel like the team also has ways to kind of protect as well, which makes things a bit easier.
Yeah, for sure. And Palno went for Fire Shield. Don't see it too often on Ogre 5, but I just feel like the speed at which he got Force Staff was just so relevant and so good. It's just such a great support item. I feel like Glimmer against pro teams, it just doesn't work quite as good. In your pubs, you're almost always better off with Glimmer because people are not going to bring Dust, but pros almost always do. So with Force Staff, he just allows himself to be more flexible. And then now he can go a little greedy and go Fire Shield to like buff up his allies. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of just ways to buff up the team coming out from the side of Quincy crew in ways that are not super typical. So that's pretty interesting. They do opt to pick up a gem over on the side of Zoomers, trying to gain a little bit more control, keep tabs on this Drow, I'm sure, because the way that they're moving is very, very tight. But on the flip side, Quincy crew also going for the smoke, and they are hunting. Nobody's home, though. They're hanging out around the pit. You can see Ponlo placing his body forward, seeing, all right, are they in the Roche? So they have to be suspecting some kind of a wrap play
And
here.
that's why they're drawing arrow on the map. If they go pressure the tower, that means Zoomers have to give up their better positioning, and they have to go TP back. So
That's exactly what they're going to do.
buildings.
Well, Shredder helping cut through the buildings.
They're just going to glyph, and they're going to do the same thing. They don't want to reset this because they lose a lot of map control, so they're just going to go pressure themselves. I mean, they don't necessarily want to fight anyways, right? They think they're behind, probably. So if they just like trade towers right now, it's really not bad.
So much damage this tower actually on the side of Quincy. Oh my god.
Little Shredder and AC, right?
Yep. It's good stuff right there.
And Zoomers is scared to even show on the wave. Like, because if they get Mars ultied or something, shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah, look at Ponlo. He's making his way towards his own jungle. Knows that they're over here.
Wraith King instantly took the tower though, or the observer ward. They'll respawn though, and now they probably go back. Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the team's showing up now. They realize that they're taking over the shrine again.
Yeah, as soon as Quincy regains control of that high ground, it's like it's not a good fight anymore. But if Zoomers is on high ground and Quincy runs into them, then it's great. That can absolutely work.
All right, well, a successful dodge coming out from the side of the Zoomers as they'll go for yet another smoke play.
All right.
Moo will show himself over on top of the eye spot. There's gonna get a big old battle around this Roche pit, I have a feeling.
Ceremonial Robe on Odie's so good. It's not just that it increases his magic damage, it also increases his mana pool, which is all of his damage as well. It's like doubly effective on his ultimate. Very cool item. Something to think about when OD players. 350, this is like, it's like 50 more pure damage per attack or something. It's quite good.
Ponlo also buying his own gem now too. They're really just, the battle for vision is so big in this game. Scotty completed now for the Wraith King. So we're getting some big items coming out now.
We are. It's been kind of nice for him. Him having cleave like really keeps his net worth up.
It's another smoke. They've used so many smokes in the last like 2 minutes, it feels.
And this is why you should always buy a smoke if you see that there's 3 in the shop. That means that you could be saving them for moments like this. Here comes the
Just
fight.
like this. Fire shield placed up. Immediately following up with that gust. It's a big fire blast. Kezu, he pops a BKB gunner, already popping his own. And it feels like they're not quite sure how they want to engage on this. So go for the arena. They'll wait patiently. Bugs Tablet jumping in is going to be able to walk right out that arena thanks to having the BKB. But Lil Shredder coming in. Is it going to be able to do quite enough damage here is the question. They'll get the kill on Kezu. They'll kill off Gunner. There's a big sonic wave coming out. They want this kill on Costabil. Can they get it done in time? The reload coming in hot as Husky will fall. Moo left behind here. He is going to now fall as well. And this Io is getting plinked away. They'll get the kill on him, and they'll follow up for this Wraith King. They want this kill. He is left all alone. He's already used the reincarnation, and that'll be a team wipe going to the side of Quincy crew and a Roche.
Ponlo's a genius. That's what happened. Fire shield on their Mars is what saved them that fight. If you look at Mars, his only tanky items are phase boots and a soul ring. That's only 6 armor. Do you really think that a Wraith King who's got armlet, Deso, BKB, phase, Scotty should do that much damage? The answer is no. Should have done way more damage. And that's because every hit of fire shield, and the first one's always a crit by the way, 85% of that is reduced. It's like insane.
85%. Oh
for 3 hits. So for that initiation, Wraith King is a pretty bursty hero. He jumps in, he gets like 4 or 5 hits, puts somebody in danger zone. But they basically kept Kezu really full for a really long time. And that just wasted so much of Wraith King's life that nobody died for too long. And finally when he did, it's like, well, everyone else is out of juice. So that was cool. It's a great game for Fire Shield, and playing around having Mars in the front is exactly why Quincy crushed that fight. And their net worth advantage helped a
Yes,
little bit.
that probably helps a little.
but
22K
still.
net worth lead.
But it was cool.
No, it was definitely a cool play, and it's a nice way to, again, we don't really see Fire Shield getting picked up very often in the pro matches, so it's very interesting to see then what percentage actually is getting reduced and just how they can use this to their advantage in a situation where, like you said, the Wraith King should have just chunked right through Kazu. Look at this damage. This is actually insane, like watching Quinn and UR.
Quinn has 48 armor here. That's mostly because he has a bajillion agility from being near Draw Ranger. But he also, even without that, he's sitting at 36. That's really high.
Hunting on Z-Freak here. Does get stunned with that tether. He's just keeping tabs, though, because you know who's here? It's Quinn.
So cool.
That is a kill. They're going for more, but he's already BKB. Gunner should be able to escape.
So we see the justification. The Shadow Blade allows him to find the IO. They start the fight with a stun. It's got Boots of Travel now in Snapfire. Melon's he's a cool player to watch. Does creative things like this.
It definitely feels like his positioning and his movements are very fun to watch too. Like his other, big heroes, the Marana, right? And the way that he moves around the map using that hero is always very entertaining. All right, well, IO down for just 16 seconds. Does have the buyback, but they're going to start making their assault here into the space. Quinn very front and forward. Does have the backup in the form of his teammates. And they'll go for the fortification.
Pomlo's been like screaming at Quinn, please kill the ward. Please kill the ward.
All right, the skewer back. The stop with the follow-up here from Kezus. They just blow up Huskies instantly. Now Quinn runs out. BKBs have been popped already.
They were so ready to back there. They cast all their spells and they're like, everyone's out.
Easy peasy.
I mean, they basically used everything, right? They popped BKBs. They used their Mars Arena.
Well, they have a second Mars Arena because they have a full refresher on Kezu. So
But
they
better
can just
save.
I mean, they can just save it. They can, fake back. They've got options, honestly, because Four Zoomers feels like they cannot leave the base. Look how dark the map is.
It's a tough
no
one.
information.
Yeah.
And that's very, very scary.
They basically just have to like push out one lane if possible. They don't have relocate either, which makes it harder, but
They need to push out because they need neutral items, too.
that would be nice.
A very
but
big disadvantage if they don't get any of them.
This is about all they can do, though. Send out the Skellies, push one creep wave, prep for the next high ground defense. There's a Satanic now on Quinn, which means his ability to push is going to be even better. He's almost got his 25 talent, too.
Very scary Quinn of Pain.
Milan in great position. Blinks forward, puts the ward down. They see everything. It means Kezu in 10 seconds when he gets his ulti again is probably going to jump in.
For sure. Absolutely for sure. That tower just melts. So they're waiting patiently, getting into position. They'll throw Kostabi forward. They'll put the silence. Scatterblast back. Skewer back again. They have the dust, but Kezu, he'll follow up. BKB's already been used, though. That's going to be the death of Milan and Husky also to fall. But Milan, he's going to buy back Quinn. Just getting forced forward here. They'll finish off the racks, and they'll be very, very disciplined as they'll back off.
Whiffed initiation there by Milan. He was... Oh, we were
They're
back
going
in.
back in again. They see themselves an aisle. They're going to get the skewer off over onto Quinn. Follow up with a nice spear. Run to Kostabi, but they'll just take out Z-Freak. Does have buyback. He's going to have to come in really, really fast to keep Kostabi alive.
All right, he's okay for now.
But it's just the fake backs. They just keep going in again. BKB comes out. They've applied the break. But it just feels like Quincy are reluctant to leave this base. They're feeling very powerful. And again, they'll skewer back over onto Quinn, but the follow-up here from Kez as they get another pin over to the wall. He's sitting very, very low. They try to keep him alive just a little bit longer. Kostabi laid though. Oh, there it is. Sonic from Z-Freak. He will fall. Buyback now coming out from who wants to get back into the fight. But it's just looking very difficult. They keep initiating over on Quinn, and you know what? That's exactly the voice line, baby, right there.
Mm-hmm. Lincoln's gets blocked. He's got the spell block with his hero as well. It's just so tough. They had a small moment there because Milan did make a mistake. He tried to stun the OD, but he instead only got, I believe, Husky or the IO or something like that. So no, he did have to buy back, but every other engagement they took immediately after that has just been excellent.
31K net worth lead at around 40 minutes into this game. It's feeling rough. for the Zoomers.
Yeah. It's a hard game.
It's indeed.
Getting some more neutral items now as they continue their map dominance, but it's just really tough for Zoomers to play the map. It's scary. They have to be, they're a little vulnerable against Quap silence in some cases, and even if it's like not a kill, it's still like sometimes they're gonna have to pop BKB to live or to get out. Because if you die, the game is over anyways, and if we take a look at the buybacks, it's probably not looking very good for the Zoomers.
Yeah, there were a lot in the last battle. For
Yeah,
sure.
there's a whole lot of no's that I'm seeing on the screen, so tough one there.
I'm guessing they ended up losing that gem as well. Yeah, not seeing it on the.
Ogre's got one, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
He was thinking about buying one earlier too.
They bought another one actually, because WA just bought one.
Oh, okay.
They're really just desperate here to make sure that they have the vision.
Yeah, he knows that like having buyback isn't that important because by the time he dies twice, his team is definitely dead anyways.
They're
so
not going to survive the.
just better
the
for them to get some D-wards right now. If they can D-ward a ward or two, and so that they don't get initiated on them right away, this could be what they need. Because he's looking.
Oh, he's looking, yeah, for sure.
He's invis for 6 seconds.
That trickster cloak. Husky.
It's about all you can do right now. They want some picks, but
How do you make this happen is the question.
you just wait, and hopefully somebody comes down bottom to hit the creep wave. That's squishy. Like, if Ogre goes and hits it, they jump on him and kill him probably. But
Is he that squishy though even?
yeah. He's
yeah,
he's obviously
of course,
got
though.
decent armor. He's got fire shield, but compared to other heroes, they just want an easy pick-off right now. That's going to give them the opportunity to play 5v4, and therefore less likely that Quincy wants to fight them. And with that, they can move on the map a little bit, get wards down, and get some D-wards down. That's their ideal.
It
Skelly's push, but
I mean, they're
not
just
long.
immediately erased from the game. They go up against
Yeah.
Milan.
dude, Mullen's so farmed. He's got more net worth than OD does right now.
To travel.
Radiant are scanning.
They know where they are.
Good God. All right, what's the play here? What's the play here, Purge?
They want literally anyone on Quincy to go bottom so they can gank him. But it's just not happening. The lane's pushing in constantly, and if they try to push it out or something, it's gonna reveal that you're there anyway. So they were just hoping somebody would come, but they didn't. They're just playing high ground instead, which makes sense. Roche is up semi-soon, so now they solve two problems basically. They basically already raxed the side of the map that they don't want to be at.
Right.
So now they just control tri-camp area like this, and it means that Zoomers basically can't leave the base on the top half of the map. They could run bottom to push it out, but it seems to me like Zoomers is hoping that they can get a gank down there.
It's another double damage rune over on Quinn, and he did just pick up a Scotty.
Nice. His damage is pretty good. Obviously very good with DD, but without DD, it's solid. It's really good. But his Satanic was slightly underwhelming, but either way, he's accomplishing his goals. He's got 1 billion kills. He's got survivability.
Yeah, he's only died once. I feel like you're underselling this a little bit. He's 14, 1, and 13. As
I'm
a Queen of
underselling
Pain.
his raw right-click DPS compared to most heroes that buy Satanic. That's all.
Okay, all right. Thanks
He's
for
playing
clearing
great.
that up and being very specific
Playing
about
great.
that. Appreciate it.
Like, it's worse than Lena's right-click, for example,
Right.
but with these same items. But
All right, they're trying to make a play here. Pawn low. Very forward. Making the sojourn together. You have to be careful. There is a ward right there. This hypothermia stacks, though, over on Roche. Look how much damage. It just
it
melts.
attacks so fast.
Absolutely melts. He just picked up. Got a cheese on deck.
Quap just has like 200 agility here
Dire are
near the
Look at this scan.
drow.
They know there's someone over there. Come on out, says Quincy. Right there. Find themselves Husky. Jump forward with the cookie. And that's a very dead Husky.
All right,
Stuck
good
around a
play.
little too long.
And now they will go high ground. That was, I don't know if that was a dieback, but
Probably. I mean,
nah, he's only dead for 40. He must have died another time. One of the another 9. That 9 deaths isn't even that bad, but it's been hard. Quincy's just
been
taking
food.
stuff off the map.
Nice skewer again coming out from Moo, but they need more. They need more to hold them into place because they're going to be able to hold the
Great
rest of the
catch.
team over here. Can they finish off fast enough? They take down Moo before this IO can do anything. And we're having the Wraith King coming back up again. The skewer, they have the
Good banish.
second arena. And they do manage to get the vanish off, but they'll lose Z-Freak. Gunner forced to back. Completely Sonic Wave coming through. And it's a dead Clostabile.
All right.
Now
He's
they're
got a
just gonna go
buyback.
for the finish here. Oh, Quinn going right into the fountain with Milan, being a little sassy here. The buyback coming out. They're just farming them. UR has an ultra kill. It's a rampage now. A double rampage for UR. And the GG gets called. They've had enough of this beating as they drop items in their
Quinn
fountain.
dropping his items. Oh, wow. So